G'day viewers, my name's Graeme Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do. Well, good day viewers and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, today we're down at the Mornington Peninsula with a very talented lady, a watercolour artist, Julie Goldspink. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Graeme.
Fantastic.
Welcome.
Thanks for being on the show. It's great to be here.
My pleasure.
Now, Julie is an award-winning artist. I mean, she has a plethora of awards that literally sort of make up a huge list. Also, diploma in art from Coffs Harbour TAFE and also a Bachelor of Arts from Charles Sturt University down here in Victoria. Very, very impressive stuff. So Julie does a lot of teaching throughout Australia as well. She's a very, very popular teacher and we're just really privileged today to be with her in her studio down here on the peninsula. It's a fantastic area. So tell me a little bit about your journey to get to here. I mean, you're a well-recognised watercolour artist. How did you come to get to this area and to do what you do as well?
Well, Graeme, I spent quite a bit of time up in Port Macquarie area.
Sure.
Always wanted to come down to Melbourne and, as they call the cultural hub of the art world, and finally got here about 3 years ago. So it's been an amazing sort of a journey, really. All of the opportunities have opened up since I've been down here, so it's been marvellous. Really
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you look at the Victorian area, particularly Melbourne, particularly watercolour, this really is the hub of a lot of what goes on in the watercolour world, isn't it?
Yes, they all seem to be have gravitated down here or been here originally, and probably a lot to do with the climate, I think, because of the weather. You know, in the tropical areas it's a little bit too warm for watercolourists in a way, so I think that had a lot to do with it, and they've all been down here. I just find it amazing because I'm down here amongst all the fellow artists, and it's just been so rejuvenating, really. Yeah,
and there's some fantastically talented people in this area.
Wonderful.
Isn't it?
You know, it's endless.
And what we're going to do today as well is that Julie, in her wisdom, without us even knowing, has picked out a seascape for you're going to do.
That was lucky, wasn't it?
It was fantastic because we really haven't had anybody apart from a couple do seascapes, but not in watercolour anyway. So we're going to go through the journey today with Julie as far as the seascape is concerned and have a look at her techniques and her style. As I said, she's an award-winning, I mean, the multiple awards. You've actually been the president of a number of art societies as well, haven't you?
Yes, I have, really, yes.
It's really cool.
Spent many years doing lots of things, yes, president and, you know, tutorial convener, and yes, so much involved with that. But at the moment down here in Victoria, I'm just concentrating mainly on my career. You know, I've had a chance now to be able to do that. So I've been asked many times to be involved and be president, or you know, be on committees already down here. Yeah. But I'm just.
I think you might be a bit too busy somehow with everything that's going on.
I'm just keeping out of the limelight a little bit from there, so they just don't ask me.
That's fantastic.
So, but I'm sure, you know. It's not like I wouldn't love to do that, but I just want to concentrate on my painting.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's go along on this fascinating journey today. Beautiful seascape from Victoria. I think you're going to love this. Okay, Julie, we're going to start on this magnificent seascape with you today. Now, before we even start, you've got your own range of brushes as well.
I do, Graeme, yes. It's a Neef 554 series. Okay. So they're really, I find them, they're a mop.
Yeah.
And I find them amazing because they're semi-synthetic, really. They hold a lovely point, and when I'm painting, and you know, with most subjects, I like to be able to whisk in you know, all the washes, and then be able to immediately come up onto the tippy toe to cut around important things. So
fantastic.
I find it's, you know, they really work for me.
You know, when you've made it in the art world, when you've got your own set of brushes, I'm telling you.
Oh, lucky, aren't I? Yes. No,
So,
they're great.
Now, also the paper that you're using there, what have we got?
Yes, well, this is Arshi's 300 GSM rough paper. I find this fantastic, you know, they're good for travelling and also plein air painting.
So how do we start a Goldspink masterpiece?
Well, I will start doing the sky, but I'm just going to fill up now with my paint.
Okay, and you're using Daniel Smith, I see.
I'm using Daniel Smith, yes.
One of the very best.
I promote Daniel Smith paints, and I find them amazing. You've got a lovely big tube, and I go through quite a lot of it, but it's so highly pigmented.
Yeah.
I find it fantastic, very vibrant colour. I like raw umber a lot. It's lovely for the greens and also for some of the darks that I use. Okay, so this is a photo I took and I'm painting today, and this was on a trip on the Great Ocean Road, around the Great Ocean Road, which is such a beautiful spot. I do spend a lot of time with my photography, so it becomes a very important tool to me. And I've sketched this up with a 2B pencil. I always use a 2B, and for this exercise here, I've actually just shaded in. I often do this. I think I got used to doing that when I'm plein air painting with the light. So immediately I'm shading in the darks. It just becomes automatic.
Do you find that affects the actual content of the watercolour as it goes on to the paper?
Look, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, I haven't, and it's being only, you know, to let me know where the dark or shaded areas. It covers up anyway. So it's, yes, I've always used that. It's just a tool that I found works for me. So once I choose the colours that I'm using, I usually stick with those all the way throughout the painting, just to create that harmony. So I'm just going to whack this sky in. Now I'm just wetting, just with a bit of clean water here, just to create soft edges. I do this.
And I can see that you're not trying to cover the whole surface. You're leaving areas, bits of white poking through as well.
I try to do that, yes. Nice big brush, usually here. Just creates that nice, soft, fluffy edge.
You're not forcing the paint, you're letting the paint do what it needs to do.
Let it do its thing.
Yeah.
That's the beauty, isn't it, of watercolour.
Yeah.
And, you know, using all the different angles of your brush. And of course, it's always going to look a little bit darker, as watercolour does when you first put it on, and then of course it fades off.
So do you find that the angle that you've got that board on at the moment is the best that suits you?
It depends actually, Graeme, on the subject, how intricate the subject might be. And I know with flowers it's not as critical, but when you're sort of cutting around and you've got a lot of different light areas, I find that this soft, gentle angle works so that you know, things don't just run completely away. These rocks around the southern coastline are amazing.
I think that's obviously one of the joys in being a plein air watercolour artist, is just simply being out in nature.
Oh, I think I enjoy the travelling around taking photos just as much almost as the painting process, because that's what excites you, you know, isn't it? You think, oh gosh, look at that.
That's fantastic.
Just got to paint that. So it just creates this nice softness, and I keep coming down here, a little bit warmer. I'm just blocking all this in with the first tone, really. There's a lot of dried, scrumbly grasses here.
Yes.
Very unusual sort of grass, actually. Pop a bit of pink in it. So I try, you know, whatever's up there should be down here, that sort of thing. I try to be conscious of that.
Balancing the colours?
Balancing the colours, yes. Yes, I really love this coral colour. I've sort of fallen in love with Daniel Smith colours. I just think it's their vibrancy. Now I'm going to put this green over the top, very light green in here, let it run. It's just getting that general, lovely light wash in underneath everything that I like.
Yes, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, and just let them bleed. And
you're still leaving those white flecks coming through all the time.
Yeah. It just happens. Must be my brush stroke.
Well, it just seems that it adds character and light to the picture anyway.
I think so, yeah. A little bit of interest. So I'm just checking for that now to make sure that it's dry enough for me to come back up there. And it usually is by the time you've done things to come back and do your dark. I don't want to you know, just go too mad and just cover up all my lovely waves that are here. So I like to cut around them with a bit of dry brush. There's so many colours when you look in this ocean, as there always is when you really look. Having so much to cut around, really, you need these lovely pointy brushes. A bit of mauve comes in here.
So you're always diving back into that water as well?
Yeah, keep coming down.
It's always great to see those beautiful tones mixed together with each other.
I know. That's fascinating.
Isn't it?
I think that's the joy of it. All wet and wet. And it is quite mauvey as it comes down here. I remember seeing it. I think it's just the reflections of the sky. There's some lovely little, you know, minty green tips on the foliage here. So I'm just watching that I come down here carefully.
You're just building all those subtleties.
You're building
first,
all the subtleties, and that's what the beauty I find, and the challenge. It's always a challenge to me. I'm just popping some dark in under this cave, and I'm just blending a lot of colours in here now for later on. They're just so subtle because there's a few rocks and stuff all in here that you can sort of see but can't see. And it's still an interpretation. I'm not painting, you know, I don't want a photo. You want to create that artwork, don't you? I'm going to change brushes now to this lovely fine pointy brush and sort of a middle-sized brush, and I'm going to do some fine work on the top of the headlands with grass and all that wild bits and pieces that are on the top of the really windswept headlands. So it's a mixture of all the colours again. This is Joe's brush actually.
Josie.
Josie, and it's an Escoda perla. So I'm just going back into this mixture now of raw sienna mixed with my blues from the ocean, and I'm coming a bit forward now, slightly bit warmer, but still using my ocean mixtures really. And it's very intricate, some of this in this photo, some of this stuff happening here. I'll go back up to this little island of rock up here. It's got a little touch of deeper blue on the top, here and there, and then I'll wash it down. Ever so subtle, and if I catch that, it should just bleed.
Look at that, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, that's just nice, fantastic, isn't it? That's great. When the sort of picture paints itself when you let the colour do
when
what
you
it
let
needs
it
to do.
run down, yeah, it's hard. Like when you've got little bits like this, you know, but when you see it in a greater volume, just running down, it's so lovely just watching it.
One of the things that I love about your paintings is your use of light, and one of the pictures that I think is just fantastic, it's actually on the front cover of the Australian Guild of Realist Artists. It's amazing. It's called Early Morning, and the light in that is just absolutely fantastic.
I enjoyed painting that, Graeme.
I mean, you've really got to be another artist to appreciate
yes,
what you've done with
sometimes
that.
I think so, yes, you do.
Because the depth in that is just phenomenal.
It's funny, you know, I find travelling around and every now and then you'll see a subject that just works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's magic.
A good friend of mine, Lynn, we were talking about this sort of thing that happens, and all of a sudden you can paint a painting and it seems to win prizes and things, and yet you think, well, okay, what did that have that maybe others don't have? And it's amazing. But there's just something that happens and makes it a special painting. This is a little bit fiddly what I'm doing, I know, cutting around. I'm just trying to interpret, not get too bogged down in some of this, but to state it in the simplest fashion. And of course, like we say, our next painting is always going to be the masterpiece, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we've got to do.
Until the day you die.
Until the day you die, yes. Okay, well look, I'm going to just go back and strengthen a little bit of the top of this sky. I just feel that I'd like it a little bit deeper at the top. So I'm going to do that first, but then I'm going to come down and do a little bit more detail in all of this work here that's the most intricate part. So I'm going to spray lightly up the top here because I still want it soft. But I just wanted to strengthen up there after looking at it dry.
Yep. And it's obviously okay to do that once you've spritzed it again?
Yeah. Okay. It's perfectly dry. I just think it needed it. When I do sunsets and things, I spend a bit of time on my skies like this. I just love it.
Apart from these other fantastic landscape pieces that you do, you're very well known for your florals as well.
Yes, I do love florals.
Here we've got one just screened up called Icebergs by Lamplight, which is just beautiful. And then Pink Perfection.
Pink Perfection, yes, that was a lovely one of Blossom that I did on watercolour canvas that I use quite a lot. And I demonstrate a lot with that as well.
Yeah.
You know, I love watching here what is happening, and I'm still using just my mixtures that I've used for the ocean and the sky and everything, and that's what I'm using, still coming down into the reflections into the water, so that nothing looks too foreign. Now I have this lovely foliage here, and bits of rock, and as they say, if you can't really see what's happening, don't paint it. Still putting in some darks of some of these little outcrops, and there's some in the shade here of his headland. And
is that paper still reasonably moist, or is it dry?
This is quite moist here.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is very wet with everything that I've been doing, so I can play around in there for a while. Just to put that lovely little edge in there, you're just trying to get that three-dimensional look on a two-dimensional surface. Okay, I'm mixing up some colours now because I'm going to come down into the foreground and do all the foliage. So I'm going to spray lightly, just with a very light spray. Now pop the minty colour, as I call it, in here. I'm starting from the left-hand side. So again, I find that it's sometimes easier when you're doing things like this to actually put the colour in and then spray lightly later. And I think you can judge the amount of water much better that way than spraying it all madly first and then diving in and thinking, oh God, it's all run away on me. I think when you're working from photographs, and I always tell my students this, that you have to look for that much longer. You have to have so much more observation when you're, you know, getting into your pictures. Because I've often found that, you know, I'm doing paintings or demonstrating, and most of them say, I never saw that.
Yeah.
Where is that? You know, they just don't see it. Usually, and even painting out, I know when I go out painting out, I get people to unpack, wander around, take photos, really find a place that they, you know, something that they really want to, you know, think that they'd like to paint, and then sit there for a while and get a cup of coffee and just sit after they've taken it and really take it in.
But you're one of those lucky people that obviously knew at a young age that this was something that you wanted to dedicate your life to.
Yes, I'm
a lot
very
of people
lucky.
Go through their lives and never find that at all.
And you know, when you have something like painting, I think it can be a cure for many things. You know, it takes your mind off, and a lot of people that I teach, you know, are carers, and just belonging to art societies and things that have brought that in, and I think that's wonderful.
So I think with those words of wisdom, Julie, I think that people that really want, particularly in the Victoria area, let alone across Australia, because you teach everywhere, so they really should go to your website, juliegoldspink.com.au. Now, Julie's actually got DVDs out, she's got books as well, so I would suggest that you give her a call, particularly down in this southern area of Victoria. Some fantastic scenery, and you've got a woman here that can really change your life through art, so you'd be silly not to call her. Now, there's another fantastic technique that you're using there. It's a bit of credit card or a bit of plastic.
Yes, well, yes, plastic. You could use a little piece of mat board if you had any mat board and you didn't happen to have a credit card, but that's very unlikely these days, I think, people not having a credit card.
But this is a technique that obviously works when it's wet.
Yes, you just have to be very careful not to do it too soon, otherwise the colour will fall back, and you can have fun.
This is actually something useful I can do with my credit card.
That's right, instead of spending, Graeme. Yes. So you can always tell if you're a little bit too soon, and that's not a bad thing to do, is to try it first. And of course I'll put the darker twigs and things over the top of this, but it was this jungle of mess down here and long grass that I thought this could be an interesting way to portray this, because that's why I put this nice colour underneath.
So we're just actually screening up some of your other work at the moment, some of these beautiful landscapes that you've done, the Yarra at Warburton, and then also Nundle Reflections. I mean, I just love the way you do your reflections on the water, and I particularly like the Southern Coastal Beauty, which is a fairly long painting, but just so much in it.
Yes, that again from this same trip. And that was another spot near Lorne, I think it was, where I took that.
Well, you're also represented by a lot of the galleries in the area. Now, the Butterflies Gallery in the Hunter Valley, also the Agra Galleries at Camberwell, and the Bryland Boathouse Gallery that's run by a dear friend of yours, Lynn Melody, that's in Frankston, and also the Post Office Gallery in Seymour. So there's a number of galleries that actually stock your work down here, and you're also involved in a number of art societies where you teach as well. And as I've said before, people really should come in and talk to you about your teaching, because you've got a fantastic style and approach to what you do.
Okay, just nearly there, I think. A little bit of, just have a little look at this. You know, the little bit of foliage that I had. It's got little bits of dark in it here and there. All right. I think we might be finished.
Fantastic.
Okay, what I'm going to do is just take the white tape around off the edge, and that always gives you a,
lovely
you know,
border.
the wow factor.
Yeah.
We hope for. But I'll just grab hold of that. And I've only used a tiny tape rather than, you know, have too much.
Job very, very well done. Fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks, Graeme.
Okay, folks, another great day down at the Mornington Peninsula at Julie's studio.
Thank you, Graeme. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so
fabulous.
much. It's been an absolute pleasure to be down here.
Great.
It's a beautiful area, and as you can see, Julie's finished this magnificent painting of one of the great scenes in the Southern Victoria area. Now, I think that Julie's one of the great teachers in the watercolour industry in Australia as well. So if you want to come along and do some of her workshops, I suggest that you do so, because she has some fantastic techniques to teach. What's your website?
www.juliegoldspink.com.au.
It's fantastic. And also, Julie puts out some great DVDs about what she does, and also some fantastic books as well. So come along and have a look at some of those also. And if you want to see all of the great artists we have, and we have some fantastic people in these days, there's so much going on the website, it's just amazing. Come to colorinyourlife.com.au, and also come in and like us on Facebook as well. But we're going to head off. We've got some great artists that we want to see in Victoria, and then we're going to head north again and edit all these shows. But as we always say, remember, till we see each other again, make sure you put some colour in your life. We'll see you again next time, guys. See you now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.